The upper portion of the Royal Flush mountain bike trail has been open for 2 years. Mountain bikers love the jumps, the berms, and tabletop features, but the trail ended in the forest, kind of in the middle of nowhere. Recently, a contractor running an excavator and volunteers finished building Royal Flush's flow riding features all the way down to Forest Road 41.
What makes it unique is that it's a very large flow trail with a lot of jumps, tabletops, and really big built-up berms. And in Central Oregon, it's not often that the terrain naturally gives us that. We typically have very sandy soils, so we have to dig a bit deeper to get all of the good clayey soils to build up these giant jumps and tabletops and berms.
It took 13 years of planning, environmental reviews, and fundraising to build the 1.25 mile long Royal Flush Trail. Actual construction of the final quarter mile of trail took a few weeks, with much of the heavy work performed by an excavator operator who feels his way through the project.
It's not on paper. A lot of the mountain bike trails and features I build from an understanding of speed and what your speed can do as you carry it through the forest. And that will depict where I'm putting features. And that is definitely something I developed over time.
For more than a decade, Kyle Jamison has been getting paid to build mountain bike trails with flow features. The business started as a hobby.
Did you have a toy dump truck and you moved dirt around? Where did this come from?
I had to build my own stuff to ride when I was a kid. We didn't have bike parks. We didn't have people building trails. I grew up in probably the flattest part of California, so I didn't have much in the way of biking, so I had to go into drainage ditches and steal a shovel from my parents and go build a jump, and then it gets destroyed and then do it again. So I've been building for myself until I was able to go and work and build pump tracks and travel around and do that stuff.
Royal Flush and Chain Reaction are the last in a package of trails that connect Sun River to the Cascade Lakes, Winoga, and Phil's complex of trails, all built and maintained by COTA, the Central Oregon Trail Alliance.
And you could see, maybe just to comment on the technical of the sight lines, one thing with jumps and flow features is being able to see what you're coming into and what it's gonna be. So I think Kyle does an excellent job of doing that. And it kind of helps. We have pretty open trees here. And so you can see this feature coming up to it and you know your skills and you can decide what you want to do with it. Do you want to slow down and just sort of roll over it? Do you want to try to jump it?
I've seen the excavator shape it and pack it a little bit, but the hand crews, the volunteers, will do what after this?
So COTA has what's called a plate compactor, and so essentially it's just a really heavy machine that has a flat bottom and a bunch of pressure going into it. And that's gonna make this really tight-knit, compacted soil that hopefully will be sustainable for a long time, aside from things like break bumps and natural erosion. And then after that, we'll come out with a bunch of flat shovels and make it very smooth, and so it looks nicer. But the main part is the compactor so that everything stays in place.
Is that one of those gas-powered?
Oh yeah.
I bet that's really fun to operate.
It's fun until you can't feel your hands because they're vibrating for hours on end.
The vast majority of mountain bike trails in Central Oregon, whether they're single track or wide and flowy with jumps and berms like Royal Flush, are built and maintained by volunteers. The volunteers themselves are mountain bike enthusiasts who've realized the trails don't build or maintain themselves.
You've been doing this long enough. Have you had to adjust your construction style based on bike technology?
As the bikes change and become more capable, our trails can kind of follow suit. We can have a little bit more advanced trails, and with these flow-based trails, you need a lot of your suspension to be kind of tuned for that, essentially. You don't want your suspension to be super soft and squishy. And as the designs of these bikes get better, they get more progressive, and so I feel like as the bikes get better, our trails are getting better, and it's all progressing together, and we can go faster and ride longer and go bigger, all the fun stuff.
The Royal Flush's wide track allows riders of all skill levels to enjoy the features, including riders who use adaptive equipment, such as trikes.
We always suggest you pre-ride it, you kind of check out the features, get warmed up, you re-ride it to kind of get your flow going, and then you get into that free ride where you're really hitting all the jumps.
Where did the name come from? Obviously it's in reference to a very good hand in poker.
It's so unique and kind of a one-of-a-kind trail, and it's not often that you get a good hand of dirt, and this is that good hand of dirt. So, Royal Flush.
From the now complete Royal Flush Trail, I'm Brooks Snavely for The Great Outdoors.